Okay, now that we've looked at David Allen and getting things done, I'm going to show you some of the tools that are behind this process, kind of the plumbing that's working in the background for me, because then things will make more sense later on. So I actually use two different tools for parsing out content. One is Hootsuite, and I use it for my business live stream. And the other is Buffer, and I use it for personal and for business. Why do I use both? Well, um, it's true that I do have a basic philosophy to never use two tools where one will do. However, in this particular scenario, I'm testing both tools against one another and trying to determine which one is best. I still think that if you can only use one tool, that Hootsuite probably delivers a little bit more overall value at the same price point that Buffer does. The pro versions of both of these products are $10 a month. The free versions are pretty much equal. But I have to give some pluses to Buffer in the way that it handles Google Plus content, and it just does a slightly better job than Hootsuite, although Hootsuite does have many endearing qualities. So for people who are just beginning with this whole idea of auto scheduling and so forth, I think the simpler tool is Buffer, excuse me, but the more robust tool is Hootsuite. We can talk more about that later. Another tool that I use is a very simple tool called Friends Plus Me. And what Friends Plus Me allows me to do is to go in and pick the account that I want, and I can route content from that account to other social networks like my Facebook page and my Twitter profile. So what this allows me to do is to really focus in on Google Plus as being the single most important network for affecting search engine optimization, and at the same time continuing to deliver content to my Facebook page. Another tool that is a favorite of mine is If This, Then That. And this is a free tool that is completely cross-platform. It meets 4 of my 5 criteria. I wish I could give these guys some money, but because it's so good, I want to make sure that they're going to be around. But basically, If This Then That works with all of these different channels, Android phones, iOS phones. All of your basic social media tools are in here. As a matter of fact, I don't really use a social media tool unless it's listed here. Okay, so these are all the different social network tools that I use. 42 different ones. And as you can see, they actually have 107 different channels. So what I can do, for example, is I can set up some workflows around my favorite tools. And I can say, okay, if something happens in Feedly, and it gives me a list of all of the possible triggers. So anytime I add a new source to Feedly, I could create a trigger and say, send that out to Twitter and post a tweet. Okay, and so it would send out, just added a new source to @Feedly, source title and source URL. And this is a very flexible infrastructure. It's basically point and click, and it allows me to do some pretty amazing things. Okay, so one of the most interesting ways that I use it, for example, is here is my uber simple Tumblr blog, or Tumblog as it's called. And here I use Instagram to post a picture to Tumblr. And if I go to my personal blog, here is that post. And that happened via the magic of if this, then that. If I go to my WordPress blog, then you will see that that same content is posted to WordPress. That all happens via the magic of if this, then that. Okay? The last thing that I want to show you is this RebelMouse tool. And this is what RebelMouse looks like in its native format. It is very robust. The only thing that I don't really like about it is that it's not searchable. Okay, there is no mechanism for searching this. But on the plus side, they do some really cool things, like allow you to put content in sidebars, and also to create live stream pages to make your website more interesting. Okay, so those are the basic tools that I'm using, and in fact, let's see, at the end of this video I will insert an image with all of the different tools that meet my criteria. But now that we've set up all of this, it's time to take a look at how do we then process the information.